Yes, hello there. Welcome back to Celtic World Order. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt and I'm joined by my bearded brother, and you can see the smiles on the face because we're all very content because Celtic returned. Celtic are back in the Champions League, and I think, Paddy, after that performance, they are certainly back with a bang, to quote a certain commentary reel from a while back. It was all very impressive because it was, as it says there, 5-star boys. Celtic 5, Slovan Bratislava 1, 5 different goal scorers. It could have been more. But as far as starts go, Paddy, it's all good, isn't it?
Miss, fantastic start. 5 goals. Listen, the opposition is what it is. We spoke about it. Well, you done your preview on them as well, highlighted the danger men and stuff like that. Going into the game, you know me, forever the optimist, called the 4-0. Got a 4-goal result. Well, I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, what a result, what a start. Second in Europe as it stands. I'll take it.
Calm yourself. Exactly. Listen, we are going to get around it. There's a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of positive stuff to cover. And as we say, it's just good. It's Paddy, it's just good to be back here. It's just good to be talking about Celtic. It's good to be talking about European football. It's good to be talking about European football positively. So firstly, I just want to say to every single one of you, we have been away. Welcome back. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much. If you're new to the channel, it's a warm welcome to you as well. Just make sure you give us a wee subscribe. Hit the bell icon, you'll never miss out. If you like what you see, like we hear, give it a wee thumbs up. It just helps grow the algorithm. Now listen, we're here to talk about positivity. We're here to talk real positivity. But I just want to take 1 second, if I could, just to be serious, because there's nothing, I just want to make this clear. You're aware we've been away, we're away, but we're back. We're going to be back, and it's great to be back. But I just want to say, wee word of thing here is, please, if you have anybody around you, friends, family, colleagues, whatever, check in on them, okay? Because I just want to be a bit serious. This is not about me. This is not a personal thing. To me, as being me myself, I'm talking about something that's had a wee impact on the channel myself over the past week or so, why we've not been around. Check in on people. It's okay to not be okay. Make sure you check in on people if you are worried about them, because, you know, that's the most important thing. That's all I want to say. Just make sure we look after each other, okay? If you've got somebody around you, take care of them, okay? However, that's that. That's the wee serious bit out of the way. I just wanted to get off my chest, because tonight is what we live for. That's what the positives are all about. And tonight that's going to put any level of positivity into anybody's life. And hopefully, if there is anybody that's out there that's a wee bit down or struggling, that has brought you back to life and you are absolutely buzzing, because believe it or not, I am. I just wanted to get that out there, as I say. So it's a wee message, look after each other. But anyway, Paddy, listen, all that soppy stuff out the way. Paddy, where do we start? Mate? Where do we start?
Listen, coming out, atmosphere tonight, looking at it, European nights back at Celtic Park, under the disco lights. Slovan Bratislava didn't know what had hit them. You've seen it in their players' faces. The players looked delighted to be there as much as we were. I seen at one point when we were going in for the photo, one of the kind of captain goes over to one of the guys, he's going, look around, as if to say, like, take this in. We don't get this all the time. And I think from that straight away, you've already won the game. That to me says bigger teams have come to Parkhead and struggled under the lights. So absolutely fantastic start.
Fine, mate.
Each player to their own. Absolutely, yeah, fine. And we can touch on all players individually. They were fantastic. Few people, I was a bit disappointed in Rio Hatate, if I'm going to be honest. Love the guy to bits.
That's your man. That's your favourite man. That's your top man.
Listen, he's my top man. I've fought his corner so much. But tonight, he's passing. It was just off the pace. He just seemed lackadaisical. He was walking about. The other players are running, busting a gut, trying to get in for winning tackles back. I thought Rio was off the pace. He just looked as if, I don't know, he wasn't the real Hatate I've come to expect.
Well, Paddy,
And it disappointed me a wee bit.
We'll cover all the stars. We'll score all the goal scorers, the starting lineup. But let's go for the very start. That's how it lined up. Now, I done a wee video. I surmised about Rio Hatate, and I thought that long term might be a guy who moved out. But although I did say, I said that I felt that the games that you're expected to win, you were expected to steamroller, whether it's domestic or otherwise, that I think Hatate will win because you can get away with some of his deficiencies, if you will. But he starts, and I think there was a lot of people. I must admit, I was a wee bit surprised with it because even though I expected to be a case of Slovan Bratislava, very much a team that are there for the taking, as I say, if you watch the video that I've done on them, and you'll see the reasons why from it. Just wee simple things like we got Bernardo doing the press conferences, and usually that's a step for a hint. He's going to be in the sort of lineup, but it didn't happen, and it didn't matter, did it? But in terms of, we'll break down all the action, we'll get into the sort of nitty-gritty of it, but what I just want to say, Paddy, and get your thoughts on it, what really impressed me was that we carried on from where we left off. The form that we've seen pre-season, the form that we've seen domestically in the league, we continued that. We said about you might need to adapt game to game, be pragmatic, but when you're there at Celtic Park, you're under the lights with a home crowd, when you've got all that in front of you, that's your opportunity, if it's a team like Bratislava particularly, to go out, express yourself and put your stamp on the match. And I think we've done that. I mean, just for the off, it was absolutely flying. I think as well the crowd were really lifting a lot of the players and really driving forward the tempo. But it was a very strong first half in particular, dominant performance, lots of good passing movements, and again, just the energy levels were like top notch. Did you not think that quite early on it looked as if Bratislava were a wee bit shell-shocked with what they were up against?
Yeah, 100%. The crowd give that as well. They were shell-shocked within the first minute of the game. We came out the traps. You've got Dyson bombing it down the left and you've got Kuhn bombing it down the right. What an option these guys are giving us. It's absolutely unbelievable. And whoever we're coming up against, they're just doing it to them. They're absolutely tormenting defences here, there and everywhere. And Kyogo's running off the ball as well. The wee man might have scuffed a few chances, but listen, he's getting into the positions to get the chances off. And that's what you ask for your strikers. So we're starting fast. We're continuing. Like you said, previously we took 10 passes to get anywhere. Now we can do it in 3-4 passes. But at stages of that game as well, we played the possession football because Bratislava had basically 2 banks of 5 sitting behind the ball. But listen, that's it. It worked.
You know what? As I say, we'll start to get down, we'll break down all the stuff. But just to generalise and talk about what we saw with our eyes. But listen, I sat here and said that Arne Engels, for £11 million on the trajectory and everything, this and that. We saw a wee bit cameo with Rangers. We saw a full good performance against Hearts.
Yeah,
guys just picking up, and it's like slapping on a familiar pair of jeans, is it not? I don't want to start going down the route and going too early and saying Matt Riley who, but you get where I'm going with this, don't you? That guy came in and talk his standout performances. Everything about him for me just absolutely oozed class. Now you touched on Rio Hatate. Now they're 2 different players and they're 2 different things, but again, coming back to my idea of saying, well, that's why Hatate might move out, because by God, did he show up, Hatate, in terms of just absolute cruised the game at that level, work ethic, touch of the ball, the passing, always looking, always being there, and ultimately being a threat as well. I just thought, for me, as just to mention straight off the off, I thought that Arne Engels was absolutely fantastic, and he looks like a guy that can only get better. As I says, he just looked as if it was, water off a duck's back at that level.
Yeah, listen, it was easy for him. I was sitting watching the game with Paul and Ian, 2 of the boys on here, and they touched on that as well. Paul says to me, he's like, looking at the way this guy's playing, he's actually looking better than what I've seen for O'Reilly. For me, it looks like a kind of hybrid between O'Reilly and Rogic, because he's getting in there and he's getting into the spaces and he's not scared to have a crack, but he's also got the vision to play the pass through as well. And you know what? He's tracking back, he's tackling. absolutely fantastic. Man of the match and well deserved, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
As he says, listen, there was a lot of positives to go for the start, Paddy. He says, we started that really intense way. We were going for it for the off, and it was just good to see that. Obviously, as he says, we spoke about Slovan Bratislava. You know, they had limited amounts of talents, but they were still getting a wee bit of purchase. The game actually turned out to be a wee bit nasty, didn't it? I mean, there was quite a lot of tackles flying in there, and I thought even in those early stages of the game, you could see the way that we are playing. We're talking about those, you know, attacking against that sort of high line. They were maybe sitting a wee bit more cautious, but we were just creating the press. Or, you know, we weren't having to work through it. It was just naturally having, and you could see that they were really starting to. They were getting flustered really early on, and that's when the tackle started to fly in. It was going tasty early on, wasn't it?
Aye, of course it was. This referee as well. I was
Hans
again
Gruber's
talking to some.
henchman with the slick back,
Aye, yeah, pretty much, mate. He's given 14 yellow cards in his last 3 games, which, as a referee, going into a game in a Champions League, you're going to expect a lot of cards. And my worry at this stage is people getting booked in, and these bookings carry on, and obviously getting suspended and stuff like that. So guys like Carter Vickers and Anthony Johnson and stuff like that getting booked, that worries me, because then going into kind of bigger games, if you've not got a Carter Vickers in there or an AJ in there, and replacements for them, for me, aren't up to the same standard. So that's the part that worried me. But listen, again, you go with what you've got. And we went in, we rode some of the tackles. Vice, I think, should have been, I thought that would have went to VAR when he kind of kicked out. I've seen Scott Brown getting asked at half time.
Were you surprised to see Vladimir Vice play his boy at Celtic Park? He's been a wee bit drifty in and out for the squad for them so far. Were you surprised that they actually played that? Do you think that was just, it was what it was, wasn't it? I'm a former Rangers guy and I'm playing against Celtic. Do you think it was as simple as that?
That's a fairy tale bit for him, isn't it? Coming back to play at Celtic Park, be a hero for them if he'd done anything. When the ball came through and he got his wee chance and fluffed his lines, I think he's seen his name in the stars. His name would have been in the programme at Ibrox at the weekend if he'd have got a goal. Do you know what I mean? Listen, I thought he was too up for the game. He was too passionate. He wanted to prove himself a wee bit too much. I said about his wee kick out, and they asked Scott Brown about it at half time. I say, Scott, do you think it's a red card? He says, nah, we've all had one of them. I thought that was quite good. I thought, fair play, Scott. Just kind of play it off a wee bit. I thought that was decent. But
I mean, as we say, we started fast, Paddy, and we were creating chances, weren't we? I mean, that's one thing you can't say. We started the way we meant to go on, and obviously the first real proper good chance came, I think it was about 10 minutes or something, and it's Maeda. You know, it's a good cross in the box, and it's basically a free header, isn't it? I mean, obviously he makes amends for it later on, but it's straight down the mouth of the goalie. He's got to do a wee bit better there. But, you know, in terms of Maeda, we spoke about how there's an improvement in his game all over. Now, you bring yourself back last season, maybe even a season after that. Maeda ain't getting up for headers in the boxes. He's not making that space. He's not making that chance. So you take that one as you find it. But I thought, you know, Maeda, the work rate was there, but certainly the thing I liked about him as well is he was getting himself into positions. He was making himself available for chances. Early on, it's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a cracking sign. If he heads that ball down off to any of the corners, it's a goal. He puts it straight towards the keeper. Like you said, he was getting into positions, and a few of the times he's just punted it over the bar and through Daisa Maeda style. If this guy had an end ball, he'd be playing in the Premier League. He really would.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. He's playing. He's coming on to a bit of a game, but he really needs to work on that end ball. Again, there was another point as well, and I'm sure we'll cover it when Kyogo runs into the near post and he puts the ball away to the back post and stuff. And this is all learning curves for him as well. Incredible player. Just needs to kind of work on that end product for me, like an Aidan McGeady.
Well, we get there and we get the opening goal, and it's Liam Scales. Now, I've got to say, as we always say, look, listen, let's take it as we find it, right? Give the man his flowers. We've given criticism. We'll always give players criticism. We think there's none there. He's definitely proven himself to be an asset. In this season, he's been near perfect. Dare I say it? He's been near perfect. And it was a towering performance, man, a match performance tonight, and he gets in there with a goal. And it's an absolute fantastic header. And this is what hang it in the Louvre, mate, because Celtic score for a corner. Not just the Celtic score for a corner, Celtic score for a corner in Europe. It's one of the ones. But again, coming back to Arne Engels, the ball comes in and it's a wicked whipped-in delivery. It's quick, it's got pace, it's turning in, and it's, all he has to do, I say all he's got to do, is just power it beyond the goalkeeper, but he manages to negotiate between the two defenders and gets a powerful header off. It's a fantastic goal from him, but again, coming back to that man, Arne Engels, he looks like a guy that's going to be a great asset. Certainly through the course of that, I saw some really good, dangerous deliveries, quite an intelligent player, and if that's something we can add, and I think Lennon said it as well, he's taking penalties, he's taking corners, he's obviously impressed in that he's putting his foot on the ball quite literally, and it's good to see that he's come into the squad so early that obviously that might be a strength, as I'd identified when I was talking about him, that was always one of his key assets, was a delivery. But it's good to see that that's been identified very early and that he's starting to take that up. How did you feel like the sort of leading up to the goal before it came in, and then obviously Scales getting easy a goal there?
The lead up was class again, some cracking football, mate. Engels' deliveries, unreal. Every corner, he put one pretty much right in the danger area. Every time we got a corner, their keeper must have been bricking it, because his deliveries were outstanding. The short corners, again, I'm not really a fan of the short corner. We played it quite a lot last year, and I think that's how we didn't get a lot of goals for set pieces and corners and stuff like that. But having a guy like this that's going to put deliveries into the box, if we can get Carter Vickers and Scales on the end of some of them, they're going to score a lot more goals. So, absolutely fantastic. The boy, like you say, he's got a delivery. He's confident to take the ball. I think as soon as the penalty was awarded, he's standing holding the ball as if, like, this is mine. Reeled in the look in. But,
I mean, the thing is he's seen terms of that first half, as we sort of run through that. As I say, we're 5-1. That's the final score. But in terms of that chance, it could have, and it really, really should have been more. I mean, you look at some of the chances we had in that first half, and listen, he gets a goal, we know that, but we've got to come back and got to talk about Kyogo. I've done a video that says, has he been the best since Larson? High praise. Certainly, I thought that he is if you look at it, but the one wee niggling thing that keeps on coming back, isn't it? And again, not to dress it down and be look at a 5-goal performance and look for negatives, but just to call it as it is, wee bit wasteful. The first one in particular, it's what a passage of play we get. Right, fast, in behind. It's a beautiful ball in for Kuhn. We've seen this time and time again from him. Great eye for a pass. And dare I say, that's the kind of thing that we were talking about that we were missing when we lost Jota. Somebody can put it right onto the foot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just find the player, and he does it again. Is Kyogo, I'm kind of running out of sort of ideas of where to go with my thoughts on Kyogo. Sometimes I think to myself, he's a fantastically great composed striker at times, or things like he's an instinctive striker, because he's just so inconsistent, to put it lightly. Like we look at the goal previously, remember the Jota pass one, similar.
Yeah.
He gets it in Europe, he controls it and smashes it. It's almost about the same deal today, but he fluffs his lines. What's the deal with him? And let's be honest, I know, I don't want to dress it down, but it's a bad miss, innit? And my only concern is we get away with it. We don't get away with it. We more than do it. We do the job, but in these games, Bratislava, as I say, you've got to caveat and you've got to temper. Enjoy it, but it's Bratislava. If that's away to Atalanta or that's away to Dortmund and you're 1-0 up, you probably don't get away with cruising and missing chances like that, because if you don't get yourself ahead and maybe knock the stuffing out of them, it could come back and bite you in the arse, couldn't it?
Yeah, we've seen it many times before. But on that, is it a bad miss or is it a good save? I think it was a good save as well for the keeper. The ball for Kuhn, outstanding. Kyogo's made the runs so many times, and we've had players in there that couldn't find them. You go back previously to before Kuhn and before Engels and stuff like that. When Kyogo was making these runs, we weren't finding him. You were just watching the wee guy run off the ball and then run into an offside position and turn around and go, all right, okay, I've not got the ball. Now he's looking and then he goes and they're watching for it and they're getting the ball in towards him. His control brilliant, absolutely outstanding. Do I think he should be finishing it? He's a striker. I think that's your bread and butter as a striker, but I do think the keeper's made a good save.
So you say
To
you say
be
the
fair to
first
him.
one then. You say the first one is a good save, right?
Yeah,
What about the second one then? Because again, it's a fantastic chance, right? We saw a goal. We saw a goal that was crafted in Japan later on in the game, but we get the same
yeah,
thing again. It's that work rate of Maeda, isn't it? Steals the
yeah.
ball. There's a wee passage of play. The ball's put right on a plate at the back post for big Kyogo or wee Kyogo, and he scoops it into orbit. Where are you
I
with
think
that
it's
one?
took
Come on.
a. I think it's took a wee bobble just before he
You're
kicks it. To be
just dead
fair,
positive, right? And you, it's a
um,
wee bobble,
I
and the ball's
listen.
got an egg on it or something.
I think it might have been one of the dodgy balls or something that we've picked up cheap or something. I don't know. It's took a wee bobble for me. But yeah, listen, we spoke about it previously and we said in Europe, like against Atletico Madrid, against Lazio at home, we'd all of these chances against Real Madrid even. You go back to that Real Madrid game, we should have went in at half time, probably 2-0, 3-0 up at that game with the amount of chances that we had. But you've got to really take these chances, especially against the big guns, because, like you say, they can come back to bite you in the arse.
And that's and that's the thing, Paddy. You know, the first half and even the second, if we were being totally honest, it was total cruise control for Celtic. We were the lion's
Yeah,
share of the possession. We were doing our thing. We were imposing our game onto them. They were just having to live in our world and try to deal with it. However, as we say, and this is where the temperament of the game could change. I would always have been confident with this sort of crowd and the atmosphere and the way things were going, the way we were playing. As we saw when we eventually did concede a goal, that had we done it, it really wouldn't have had that much an adverse effect. However, as you said earlier on there when we were talking about Vice, he had a chance. The ball comes over and it's actually AJ that's caught sleeping. He gets in behind and he fluffs his lines. He sort of dithers on the ball and it's a weak shot there. But again, at that stage of the game, it's a let off. Let's be fair, it is a let off. And I think in terms of the amount of opportunities that we gave them, it was few and far in between. But again, just coming back to if you're playing against a team with a wee bit more in the tank, that's why it's more important to take these chances when they present, because
yeah,
something like that, particularly in the Champions League, it's always round the corner, regardless whether it's Atalanta, Dortmund, or indeed Bratislava. And sometimes these teams can be a surprise package. It didn't matter tonight, but it's just a wee reminder, is it no?
100%. Listen, we've got Atalanta, we've got Aston Villa coming up. That ball falls to Wickman or Watkins. That's a goal. Do you know what I mean? 100%. Like I said, I think Vice kind of get caught up in it. Seen his name in lights, and it was sort of Desert-esque, wasn't it? That's what we'll call it. When he was clean through.
He was
Clean through,
harnessing
and
his
Joe Hart.
brethren, wasn't he?
He was. He was clean. He was clean through, and Joe Hart and fluffed these lines. That's what I seen there.
Yeah.
But listen, chances like that we can't afford to give away, especially against the bigger teams.
Yeah. Well, you see, the first half, I mean, I run out of terms to sort of describe it. Just to touch on the main sort of body of the game and the main sort of guys making it happen. Very much as says, let's be honest, it was largely pedestrian at the back. There was nothing really too
Yeah.
much to worry about there. It was taking care of itself. Kasper Schmeichel pretty much could have just got a deck chair out and had a chill. The midfield, we says, with that combination of Satati, Engels, and McGregor. Engels, we says, an absolute breath of fresh air. Cruised that game. Just looks, he looks experienced and confident beyond his years. You forget that he's only 20. Absolutely playing a blinder there. Hatate, you touched on him. As I say, he's one of your go-to guys, one of your favourite guys at the club. And again, it's just calling it as you see it with your eyes. I just felt that for me, I think that he done a lot of good in the game, but you can still see the things where, for me, there was a lot of running about, there was a lot of energy, but it didn't quite. Obviously, listen, focal point, maybe the assist that he gets in the second half and stuff. Yes, absolutely, I get that. But again, just talking about the standard opposition, the terms of where I say you can get away with it, that wee laxness that he maybe has, you can get away with that when you're on top, you're at Celtic Park and you're playing a Bratislava. However, you switch that over to overnight against Atalanta, you fire that into a game
Yeah.
against Dortmund, that could be slightly more costly. What was it you didn't particularly like, or you would have preferred to have seen a wee bit of improvement for Hatate? What is it for you as a guy that sits on here every other week and sings his praise till the cows come home? What was it tonight that didn't quite match up for you?
I just felt like he didn't. I don't know. It's not that he wasn't interested. He was interested, but he didn't have the end ball. He wasn't fighting back. He wasn't tracking back. He wasn't giving everything. Other players in that same position, like you look at Engels. Engels fought for every single ball. If he lost the ball or the ball got lost on his side of the pitch, he was over and he was chasing in. I just felt like Real wasn't doing that. There was parts when the ball's going forward as well. You've got Engels and Callum even running forward, and Real's just kind of walking nonchalantly like he does, just taking a wee rest. But it was a giving a ball away mostly that kind of got me. There was a lot of passes. We know we spoke about it before. He likes the hard pass rather than the easy pass.
What did you think, though? What did you think of Rio's general position around the park? He was playing that slightly off left. For me, when you look at Engels, obviously, you know, McGregor's doing his thing. He's sort of orchestrating. He's sort of always pretty much dead centre and finding it. What I liked about Engels was there was a lot of drifting. He was shoehorning across. He was making himself constantly available, and he was finding better positions for me. Now, obviously, both of them are going to be like a sort of, you know, a creative influence in the game. But for me, I just thought that Engels was doing everything that Hatate was trying to do, if that makes sense, but just doing it a wee bit better. Not to discredit Hatate. I thought he had some very good spells in the game. He had a couple of good passes where he got guys in and could have done that. But as I say, I think for me, I've just want to talk with you. It's about the all-round packages game. That's just something I think that he needs to bring it up a wee level, particularly at this level. You know, listen, see the home games playing against young boys, and like I expect that he'll start the games at home.
Yeah.
See, away games that I think are going to be a completely different kettle of fish. And if, like, look, if we're playing against Dynamo away, if you base it on anything, I know they're playing, you know, Bayern Munich, but if you base anything on that, then you might get in that game and all. But the really hard games, your Villa, your Atalanta, your Dortmund, they're the ones that I'm looking at and I'm questioning, mate.
Yeah, Real get found out in there for sure. Again, and for me, it's just the end ball, the passing part of it. There was some good parts to the game, but he needs to up that. He needs to do it more often than not, for me, especially at that level. Like we say, Darnay Engels, I think, set the bar for me. Maybe it's because he's in there and he was beside him, and he kind of, like you said, showed him up a little.
Is that what I love now he gets you, mate? Is that actually what I love now?
Mate, listen, see if it is, go out and do the same next year and just stick somebody else along beside him, because it's absolutely fantastic. And I can see this young guy going on to be an absolutely fantastic player for us. Like you said, he's young. He's just made his debut for Belgium, coming on for Yuri Tielemans. So it just shows you the quality of this young lad breaking into that team, because that Belgium team for years has been ranked in the top 5 in the world. And it's absolutely, it's brilliant. This is the quality that we're bringing into Celtic Park, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Well, aside from our positives, there was a couple of things in the first half as well that were a bit tasty, wasn't it? So, as we look at some of the bookings now, the one I want to come back to is we got one VAR check. Obviously, we'll get around to that. But do you think there should have been a VAR check for the tackle on Kuhn? I believe it's Wimmer. He comes right through the vacuum. It's a 2 feet and he takes him straight off his feet. Yellow card, but that for me is that's got to be one that you're surprised that didn't get looked at, because it started to get a wee bit tasty. You know, they picked up the sort of 3 yellow cards. Obviously, we picked on Vladimir Weiss. He was starting to lose the head. He couldn't. The fans were getting right on his back, and it was coming through. But for me, it's you know, Paul saying there, straight red. For me, I'm really, really surprised that doesn't get looked at. Now, we've talked about, we've seen the VAR review in Scotland, but I mean, surely no matter whether it's European or domestic football, I mean, that's not a yellow card as far as I'm concerned, mate. And I thought that a lot of their players were really riding the lightning, walking a tightrope there. Yeah,
of course they were. I'd like to hear Willie Collins' view on it. What Willie thinks. Maybe we'll get him to do a wee review thing on it. I thought it was, for me, questionable. I'd like to have seen it in slow motion, maybe a wee freeze frame in there just to put the ref right off it. His studs were up. His studs were shown. He doesn't touch the ball. So you can argue the fact that it's a red card. And that's Vice gets booked straight after it as well. Does he not? Or was it Johnson? Does Johnson not run in and
Johnson gets
get booked
tackled?
at the same time?
I thought it was cheap for Johnson, but it's one of the ones. I think, as you pointed out, the sort of referee's been known to be sort of a card merchant, and he actually refereed us previously in Europe when it was a nightmare as well. So it didn't really surprise me too much. Yes, it didn't surprise me too much. But no, I thought that was ignorant. But what about the VAR ones? We had an incident, we spoke about handballs domestically, we've seen this and that. Obviously, there's an instant where it comes up on Scale's hand and it's not, it's completely waved away, rightfully so?
Yeah, rightfully so. Again, he's too close. And if it comes off your player and onto one of your own players, then in the rule book that states that is not a penalty, as much as the SFA would like you to believe it.
Not anymore, mate. Not anymore. But
come on,
it's a positive first half, and as I say, we go in, we're up, but let's be honest, it probably should have been closer to sort of 3, maybe more goals, dare I say it. But a very positive start, and I'm going to be honest, I mean, for the way that we've been playing, did it at any point really surprise you that we got that level of purchase in the first half? As I says, we've been talking about that wanting to carry on the domestic performances and taking into Europe, but did you expect anything near what you got in that end of that first half? Were you sitting there at half time going, that's exactly where I thought I was going to pan out? No, I know you're Mr. Positive. You'll say, of course I did, mate. But if you're honest, did you genuinely think? Because I was sitting there and going, where's that Celtic been in Europe? Because I expect that domestically, but I just don't expect it in Europe.
To be honest, like we spoke about the opposition coming into this game, I was extremely positive.
That's some of the stuff. There you go.
Good man, thank you very much. Like I said, coming into this, I was quite positive because we had looked at the opposition, we had addressed them essentially, and looked at them. Again, their previous 5 games, they had won 5 and lost 1, I think it was, but they lost 5-0. So again, they do concede a lot of goals, and I thought with the firepower that we've got up front and the intensity that we play with, I just thought it would be far too much for them to handle. So
Paddy's took a wee freeze, but no, I completely agree. You all remember, this man's out on the rigs. He is out in the middle of the ocean, so technical difficulties are a thing. We'll drop him out and we'll see if he gets his body back in. He's able to do that himself. He's a big grown man, but no, I totally agree. I thought for the way that we started off was incredible. Just, carrying on that domestic form into Europe, and I was taken back. But we start off that second half and it's more of the same. Let me know in the comments, we'll try and get some of these back in here as well. But the second half kicks off exactly as it picked up, and it's not too long before we obviously get ourselves off the mark with Kyogo. It's kind of funny, we sat there and we spoke about the missed opportunities for Kyogo 2 in that first half, which, if I'm being honest, me personally, I think they're quite gilt-edged. They're a wee bit slack for the man himself, but funnily enough, the one that he probably doesn't expect is the one that he ends up scoring, the one that just hits off him and goes in. But it's great work again from Kuhn, and the amount of assists that he's adding in his game, as well as been getting on the score sheet as well, is absolutely amazing. It's great to see. When we look back to last season, when we were still sort of struggling a wee bit, we were kind of really, really heavily dependent on the strikers alone to score. We were getting, some goals around elsewhere in the sort of middle of the park, but what a breath of fresh air it's been for the pre-season and right up into the start of this season so far, because we're adding goals, we're adding threat, both on the left and right. Obviously, we've got Kuhn doing this thing on the right-hand side. On the left, we've got, obviously, Maeda doing the things that he's been doing, but the resurgence as well of James Forrest is fantastic and good to see. And obviously, he comes on again in the second half, and he contributes, and he does more of that as well. So we're starting to get a wee bit more creativity. We're getting it coming through all people here. Paddy's trying to get his body back in. Let's see what that big face there he is there. In case you don't know, Paddy's out on the water. And the way it works is he gets given, think it has been like credit where he can use the internet, right? And then it runs out and they take it off him and he needs to come back. So what he's done is he's went and put a couple of quid in the meter, so to speak, but he's back. Anyway, Paddy, you're back. So, sorry, in case you weren't watching it, we were just talking about Kyogo's goal. He scores the one he probably doesn't even know about because it hits off him. But there you go. But great work again for Kuhn. It's good to see that threat, isn't it, down those wings, mate?
The threat down the wings is incredible. Kuhn for me at the beginning wasn't really driving for the byline as much as I would like. Same with Maeda. We weren't getting that drive that we normally have. However, when he did, he gets the ball across the box, like we said, bang, the pass right across the face of the goal. It comes off of Kyogo's knee or his top of his thigh or something. Listen, brilliant instinct to be there. He knows where to be, and that's what you want for your striker. It doesn't matter if you score for 30 yards or 5 yards, as long as you score.
We'll take them. I sat here and I was previewing the game and I said, we're taking off the back of somebody seeding a 1-0, but we get there, we're 2-0. It's more than we were absolutely deserving because it says, look, it should have been at least 3 getting into the half time, but we kick on. But then quickly after, we just keep on going. Do we never stop, Paddy? Do we never stop? We don't. And we get there. 55 minutes, we get a penalty. There's a shot off of Kyogo, the ball's bouncing about. Now listen, I will take it. I want to know what's your thoughts on this, because see, for me, I think the penalty's a scandal, right? See, if I get given against Celtic, I am getting off my nut. I am losing it. Now, I understand the ball's high, they're both high, but come on, he kicks his heel. He's not getting the ball. He's nowhere near it. And I know what you say, it doesn't matter, it's contact, it's a foul, but come on.
Yeah.
Is that what we're getting penalties for? I'll take it. I'm happy. I'm no moaning. But I'm just coming back for the balance of fairness. What's your thoughts on it, Paddy? Did you shout penalty or did you go, what the happened there?
If it's against you, you're raging. I'll say that. AJ is going for the ball. The guy kicks AJ. That's a penalty. He doesn't touch the ball. So let's go by the rules, the law, whatever you want to call it, the rule book. It's a penalty in the rule book, so it is 100%. You get to the ball before the defender and he kicks you, it's a penalty. And that's what's happened. So it might be a soft one, but it is still a penalty. And Arnie Engels, I think, straight away had the ball in his hand saying, right, this is mine, nobody's taking it. And I love that confidence. I love that young lad, he's come into this team and he's standing there straight away like, yeah, this is mine. He's wanting to take the corners, he's wanting to take the free kicks, he's wanting to take the penalties. That just shows you what he's bringing. He's a character, he's a confident, very, very confident, very able young man.
And he slots at home, similar, exactly what we've seen against Hearts. Now, again, I don't have it here, but just showing about that confidence, it was quite funny. Talk about under pressure. We've all seen the footage, haven't we, for the Hearts?
Shankland.
You've got Shankland trying to wind him up, shouting, you've got our guy going, 11 million, eh? And then he scores, right? Two dafties shouting at you on the touchline are nothing compared to the pressure. He's stepping up the Champions League group stage to take a penalty. Cool as you like, mate. Have we now found a penalty taker that's got balls of steel?
Fucking hope so. We've been waiting on it for a long time, have we not? I thought we had found that with Hatate before, and then he scuffed his lines a couple of times, and you're like, oh no. And then Ida came in, and we're like, right, big Ida, here we go. Listen, the young lad, he looks so confident. That's two penalties he's had, and he sat the keeper down twice.
I just want to bring this up for Kaiser, and it's true. Talk about strength of character as well, because he took an absolute kicking today, but it never shied him away. He was still looking, he was still wanting the ball, he was still getting the possession, he was still putting himself about. And again, talk about, experience or strength of character beyond these years, because we've seen it before, haven't we? We've seen it with players coming in and they're all the talent, they're playing their game domestically and they're having a world day, or they start off the game and then they get a couple of bouts in them and they just fade. Absolutely not with him. Not with him.
He didn't even, listen, he get kicked off the ball a few times, and like you said, he wasn't one of these players that stayed down and rolled about or anything like that. He just jumped back up and he went and get the ball, and like that, always shouting for the ball. Didn't matter who had the ball, it was like, I'm here, I'm here. He was always in space. I don't think I've ever seen him be marked. I don't think I've seen a player on him at any time. It just seems to drift in and out that midfield part, and there was never a point where he was being man-marked, essentially. He was always in space and always willing to take the ball. which is an absolute joy to see in the middle of the park.
No, it's great, and that's the thing. We're cruising at that point. We're 3-0, but as we say, there's always a sting in the tail. Listen, you can't complain about that goal, can you? I mean, all right, the way it comes about, it's a wee bit poor for a defensive standpoint. It's boot it up, my line, it bounces down, but mate, outside the bit, top
for your
corner.
left back.
I mean, for a left back, come on, aye, you've just got to sometimes go, well done, mate. And that was one of the ones. I don't think, I mean, as you say, listen, it's a mere blot on an amazing performance. I don't think anybody's losing any sleep about that goal, are they?
Nah, not at all. Maybe Greg Taylor after his pishy clearance, but to be fair, listen, it's a good finish with the boy. I wish our left back could finish like that, I'll tell you. Outside of the boot, top corner.
Well, speaking of left backs, Paddy, speaking of left backs and speaking of Greg Taylor, I've seen mixed reviews. Some people are saying Greg Taylor was immense. I thought Greg Taylor was all right. I also got a couple of messages during the game from various groups and friends saying Greg Taylor is mince at this level now. I've said, listen, I think he's very good, very dependable. He's a great season so far domestically. Were you surprised that when we saw all the substitutions and we saw people getting on, that we didn't get a wee peek at value, particularly when we got on so well?
I think we'll see Vi next week. I think the Falkirk game coming up, I think that's when we'll get to have a wee watch at him. Listen, Greg does what he does. I don't think he was incredible. I don't think he had a fantastic game. But he had a good game. He was all right. He didn't give the ball away much. He was going forward. He done this thing where he's drifting into the middle of the park again.
Your favourite thing, Paddy?
Listen, he does it, and I like it now. I'm actually a fan of it because he's drifting in, he's helping out in the midfield, and defensively we just all move across and we're still solid in there. We nearly got caught out with it at one point. But when he's coming back, he needs to be a bit quicker for me down that left-hand side. I know he's got Dyes in there as well to help him out at some points, but if you're going to be a player that's going to be drifting in to help the midfield, you still need to watch the area that you're supposed to be covering. And for me, that's the only thing that he lacks. But overall, I think he had a decent game.
Yeah, no, listen, I can't disagree. As I say, I think it'll be interesting to see when we play the sort of sterner challenges, but on the whole, I thought it was not too bad. But look, the goals keep on coming, mate, and it keeps on happening. 4-1s, as I says earlier, it could have been what happened in the first half, but the lines were fluffed by Kyogo. But we do get that goal that's been forged and made in Japan, and it's an absolute topper. And it's the three men combining again. Early ball in, fed through, Kyogo, Rio, slides it through, Maeda, and again, we're talking about adding goals to his game. We're talking about a wee bit of composure around him. Well, he just slots it home good and well. And it's great to see Maeda, and I think he's proven a lot of people wrong. Including myself, I do say so. I've no shame in saying that. But it's great to see. I don't know what they've been putting his juice, mate. But it's great to see that we're starting to get goals at him as well.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's persistent and he just keeps going. We've said it before, a speedboat with no steering wheel, and he'll just run all day for you. And that's what he's doing. He's running, and you know he's going to get into these positions. I don't know how many shots he had on target, but probably about 3 or 4 on that game, not including the ones that he put into the stand as well. But listen, he's getting into the positions. A cracking ball in by Rio, one of the ones that he did make. Gets the assist, and there's Super Dyes to slot away another. Like we said, that's 5 goals, 5 different players as well, which I thought was really good.
I mean, we get a couple of after changes. Ralston, Farrar, Lister Johnson, Kuhn comes off, Forrest comes on. Trusty, late on, we'll get around to that. We cameo 6-7 minutes just to ease him in. We get Bernardo for Rio, we get Ida for Kyogo. And again, we talk about, you just look at that bench, mate. You look at that bench from where we were previously, and it was just a breath of fresh air, wasn't it? You know, to have Bernardo, to have Ida, to have, like, say, on form Forrest there to come on. Just the rotation that we've got, it's good to be able to put folk on and think that you are, as you said, replacing like for like quality. You're not scraping the bottom of the barrel and chucking on somebody like Yang and saying, oh, I hope he can do something here. What a difference, mate. And that's what we need at this level, isn't it?
100%. You're bringing on players who are going to make an impact. You're bringing on players who are possibly better in that type of football. Like I thought Ida would maybe have been more suited at the beginning of the game. I thought Champions League football would have been more so kind of longer, maybe against the kind of so-called bigger sides. It's going to be like that for us. Longer balls into the box, maybe have Ida up there. But listen, Kyogo gives you the speed as well. So it's a kind of catch-22 for me. But it's unreal. Like we said, we spoke about it on here, having a like for like, taking off a Kuhn and bringing on somebody who's as decent. James Forrest, come on and done what James Forrest does, just drives. Again, Tony Ralston, he's dependable. He comes on and you know what you're going to get with Tony. You're going to get 100%.
The take's good feeder for the goals, she says. You know, we get the drive for Forrest and he comes in and he slides him in. And very similar to the goal that we thought we had against Hearts. He just slides it comfortably past the goalkeeper. When I was actually at the Hearts game and that went in, although it was cut off, I says to myself, I says to Big Pat I was sitting next to us, I think that'll do him the world good. I think that's what he needed.
Yes.
He needed just to be comfortable. And I think that despite it being offside and not counting, in his head he's like, that's a goal and it's kicked him on and he looked comfortable tonight. I know we're up and he comes on, but you know, the guys come on about sort of 75 minutes or that, so still a good bit in the game. But one thing I did like about it, and it's maybe testament to the way that we were playing, how comfortable we were. Previously when he's came on, he's looked like he's been a bull in a china shop. He's thrown himself about, eager again. Didn't have to do that. The game just panned out in front of him. Everything happened there. He didn't have to try too hard. He just had to make his runs, be in the right place, and the ball was coming to him. And I think that's going to set us up. And it was good to see him score as well, though. Good to see him score. One chance, one goal. That's a marker as well for guys like Kyogo. Now, Kyogo undoubtedly will be the guy that's going to be starting. But it's good to say, look, I only need one chance for you, man, and I'm going to be scoring. Particularly at this level.
The pass out for Liam Scales, by the way, into James Forrest was fantastic. He gets the ball in defence, just bang, straight up the park towards James Forrest. James Forrest gets it, bombing through. Ida times are on absolutely perfect, and then Jamesy plays him in. And he lets the ball run across him. If you notice it as well, he doesn't crack it with his left peg. He lets it run across his left and just taps it with the right, which for me is a very, very confident man. Most folk, if you're struggling for goals or if you're at a stage where you're kind of worried about your gameplay, you crack that with your left, you hit it first time. He's let it come across. He's confident. He was poised. He was ready. And it was good to see. Really good to see.
5-1 season. Other than that, there's not too much to write home about in terms of, we had a couple of one or two sort of chances in that sort of second half as well. Obviously, there's a notable one that a good shot, Cal McGregor doing what he's doing, getting more purchasing shots, puts one on the post. But other than that, it was comfortable, it was plain sailing, and I thought very, very assured performance. The manager's going to be feeling absolutely buoyed by there now. As a couple of people are saying, and rightfully so, you've got to temper expectation, right? You've got to temper expectation. Yeah, you know, looking at wee table at this moment in time, that's brilliant, yes. But it's one game at a time. But it's always about the confidence. The next game is going to be the first real test, and that's going to be the next one around. We're going to really have to think about that. Talk about formation, talk about changing it up. Are you expecting us to be a wee bit more, as I said, pragmatic for the second one? Or do you think that the manager's just going to continue to do what we're doing here? Do you think that's short-sighted? Play the game to its merits rather than just what you want to do? Sometimes what you need to do rather than what you want to do?
I don't know. I really don't know. Listen, it's nice to have the option, isn't it? Who you can put in there and what you can do to look forward to these games. I think we're going up against a hell of a good outfit next. And I think we need to, like you said, screw the head. I think there will be changes. I don't think Rio is going to start. I still think Kyogo will be in there. Other than that, I can't really see many other changes other than Rio, to be honest. I just think Bernardo is going to be suited to the kind of bigger profile games. I think that's about it, mate. I don't know what else to say on it. I really don't.
No, listen, there's a lot of positives to go for there, and everybody will be buzzing. Not only will you be buzzing, I think a lot of folk will be spewing up as well, because I think a lot of folk tune in to watch Celtic get beat, don't they, in Europe? And it was nice to not only win, but to record our highest result in the Champions League as well, and not just as well getting a wee nod to something that we've not done before. Also talking about the man who for me was the star man despite the awards getting given out elsewhere, as Arne Engels, who's the first man to appear in a Champions League debut for Celtic, score and assist. Last done by Henrik Larsson, so there you have some of that. So
can you bring him into your comparison? Is he the best since Larsson?
Is he the best since Larsson? I don't know, maybe the best debut since Larsson, but
Larsson's debut was horrible, man.
No, I'm talking about the Champions League, mate. I'm not
fair play.
Fired out on the left wing against Hibs away at Easter Road. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the good stuff. It'll be really, really positive. And I think after the back of that, I didn't get the chance really to sort of really listen to what the manager was saying. I saw the sort of Liam Scales sort of post-match interview as well. And all very positive this time. Things are absolutely cruising. We can't ask for better than that. But game's coming in the corner. Folk are crumping the cup. Going to be rafter changes, isn't it, for that one? Well,
100%.
Lobsters.
Yeah, I think this is when you see a lot of the kind of newer boys, your Trusty, your Valley, Scott McCowan, Luke McCowan coming in. Maybe a few of the younger boys as well. Oh wow, didn't know that. Yeah, I think there's only a raft of changes, but we still need to concentrate on the game, because previously we have rested players going into games like this, and we've had our pants pulled down. Let's be honest. We just need to look at last year for that. We got put out by a poor Kelly side, and I don't want that to happen again. Falkirk are playing well. They're a decent outfit. Don't underestimate them. Go into the game, be full of confidence, play a good side, and if I'm going to comment on it right now and pick a score, I'll go for 4-0.
You're 4-0 on the head, mate. You're absolutely 4-0 daft. I love it. But, Paddy, listen, we could sit here and we could go on and on and on and on. I'm acutely aware that it is nearly 11:30. So we thank every single one of you for watching us and joining us. But also thank you as well, because we know that after a result like that, everybody and their granny was out. And some of the big boys were out. But you chose to come watch CW. And we love that shit. We're all over it. Thank you very much. As we say before, our community at this moment in time is small, but there's always room for rapid expansion. So if you like this, then you know what to do. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you want to like it, beautiful. If you want to share it out, even better. Just gets more bodies in this door, grows this wee community, and we want to thank every single one of you for doing that. And actually keep your eye on the community thing, because again, these things get put to the back burner because we've been away. But check this shit out. For us, right? This is a one. I say it's a 1-1. We got some of these shit together for us, just for us, not for anybody else, for us. But this one is brand new, and it's free to want to use. It's a size large, by the way. So if you want that, we'll put a wee post up on the community page. All you need to do is comment on it, show that you're subscribed, and we'll pick somebody at random, and we'll contact you, and we'll fire that shit out your way. Classic green and white. We know to the original NWO, the slight angle logo. It's green, it's beautiful, it's high quality, not cheap shite. We'll send you that, and we'll send you some stickers, we'll send you some magnets. It's all free, because we love yous coming back to watch our stuff. So
on that note as well about subscribing to some of the pages, we also have an Instagram now as well. We
God, do we? What's
Celtic World Order podcast on Instagram. So get yourself over there, like and follow that page as well, please. That's going to be run by my son Miles. Obviously we'll be dishing out the content to him and making sure he's doing a sterling job, but I'm sure he will. But again, guys, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch us. And like Steve said, there'll be a lot more coming as well. Possibly a few more player interviews coming as well. I've been speaking to a few guys today, so fingers crossed that goes well, and we'll have them on with us as well.
That's it. Thank you to every single one of you, as we says. We'll catch you in the bend. We'll be back. We'll be back for more regular thing. The norm's coming back. The status quo's coming back. We'll be back for more chat. There's some other pre-recorded videos that will be uploaded as well, so keep your eyes out for them. We'll be talking about money, those accounts. We'll also be talking about the VAR review and thoughts on that. 2 videos are upcoming your way. And of course, we're going to give it back to the Cup stuff at the weekend, and we'll be back to that as well. So anyway, guys, as always, hope you enjoyed your night. If you're just in for the game, have a couple of beers, enjoy it, celebrate it. If you've already been in the house having a couple of beers, have a couple more and celebrate it as well, because it's very rarely that we'll sit here and we'll talk about a 5-1 win in the Champions League. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a great start, but it is just a start. There is work to be done, but we can go forward into that, and we can be confident that maybe this season, what we've been hoping for all that time is actually going to come to fruition. We might just get into that next phase of the Champions League. Early days, but the signs are positive for the off. So anyway, till the next time, as always, take care of yourself, and hail, hail. See you all later.
Hail, hail, guys.